And that's
have you read
universal.
the whole Bible, by the way?
I did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I actually had Bible class in Florida. When I moved from San Francisco to Florida, I was 11 years old, and it was a complete polar opposite experience of the country. I lived in San Francisco with two parents that were hippies in Haight-Ashbury. So we were in the middle of, like, we lived near Lombard Street. We were in the middle of, like, the hippie anti-war revolution of the 1960s. And then I moved to Gainesville, Florida. My stepdad was going to, he was becoming an architect. He was a computer programmer, and then he switched careers, became an architect. And so he's going to a University of Florida at Gainesville. And so we were there. So now all of a sudden I'm around alligators. There's fucking alligators everywhere. It was like, are you people retarded? Why do you have giant monsters everywhere? This is so ridiculous. So we had alligators, super weird, swampy weather, and religion. Yeah. Religion was in the schools. Like in public school, you had Bible class. And they also paddled you. It was the first time I'd ever been hit by a teacher. I got in a fist fight with this kid, and they whacked us with a paddle.
Can I ask you an alligator question real quick?
Yeah.
So when you were in Florida in the 1970s, were you there in the late 1970s?
It was, let me see. So I was in 67, I was born. So in 73, I was in San Francisco. So 75, 76.
Okay. Did you know
77?
someone whose name is Ross Allen in Florida?
Oh, I have no idea. I was 11.
Well, he was older. Like he would have, he was an alligator. Yeah, he's an alligator wrestler. He had an alligator farm.
Alligator wrestlers. What's the lifespan of those fellas?
Well, I don't know when he died, but yeah.
That doesn't seem like that would work out so well.
Well, they probably defanged him. I don't know.
Even that, they're just going to break your arms off.
Speaking of which, I need more fire.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, just grab that sucker right there and pull the top back, flip it around the other side. Like this way, this way, this way, the other way.
This way.
No, the other way. It's upside down.
Oh.
See this? There you go. Now see the top? Pull it, sucker back like that, like there. Yeah, and then just
fire?
pull it down.
Pull it down. I know. I cannot believe how
Is
bad
it open?
I am at that.
No, it's not open. You got to open the top. Flip that top. No. Look, see this?
Oh, with my hand.
Oh my God.
I know.
There you go. You got it.
Thank you. See, I feel like I came here to learn this.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a little weird because it's all black, and so it kind of blends in, especially if you're like us and your eyes are probably going as time goes on. Like
I can do it myself.
There's not a chance in hell I could ever do one of those clasps on a bracelet. Those little tiny bracelets, like them little clasps. Like my wife tried to get me to do one of those. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm seeing. I have no idea what that is. I see blur. I see golden blur. What the fuck that is? What were we just talking about?
Well, you were talking about learning the Bible in school. But so one of the things that a lot of people who have read the Bible, or they have read a portion of the Bible.
I definitely don't think I read the whole thing.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's not very many people do, and that's why I asked, because a lot of it is kind of tedious history, and there's a lot of he begats, and there's the whole line, of Christ, all the ancestors, and the whole delineation of all that. And where I come from, we were encouraged to read like a verse of the Bible, but they would always tell you what it meant.
Right.
And so I kind of went against, I used this little pen light and did it late at night, but I read the whole thing cover to cover when I was 8. And if you read every single book in order, you start to find that there's a lot of really beautiful places in the Bible, but there's a lot of stuff that's really violent. And then there's a lot of stuff that contradicts itself. And it's because it was written in different time periods by different authors in different languages. And it also has historical context. And so generally there's a lot of stuff that people leave out when they teach the Bible because it's really hard to explain.
Like what stuff?
Well, there's, for example, this one's taught a little bit, but King David, I'm sure you've heard of him, as of David and Goliath, but then he became a powerful king. And he saw this woman is often talked about, Bathsheba. He sees her bathing on a roof. And where we came from, we were taught she shouldn't have been bathing on the roof. Now, right. Anyway, he demands that she come to him, and she is the wife of a soldier of his named Uriah, a top soldier. And he commands her to lie with him, and she becomes pregnant. And then King David, who is the same guy who had the slingshot of David and Goliath, decides that he's got to figure out how to get her husband back so that her husband can go sleep with her, and her husband won't do it because he's loyal to the army, and he comes back, but he sleeps at the floor of the castle, trying to...
Wait a minute, he's trying to get the husband to go back with the wife?
So that the pregnancy will seem like it's his.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So
in the Bible.
In the Bible.
Dirty David.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't even end there. So Uriah won't do it because Uriah is loyal to David.
Oh boy.
And so then David sends him to the front lines to have him be killed.
Oh boy.
So that he can marry his wife and get away with that child's not being illegitimate.
Oh boy.
And then God kills the child because, needs to make the point that David was, and think about poor Bathsheba. She's just been rung around. Her husband gets killed, all these things. Her kid dies because God is punishing David.
And her husband got killed because he was loyal to the guy who got her pregnant.
Absolutely. That's not a story a lot of people hear.
Oh my God.
But you can fact check that one if you like.
Oh no, I believe you. I'm good at that. I'm good at just like, yeah, now I'll go argue it.
I mean, there's something I talk a little bit about in the book Forager, which I encourage everyone to read. But in that book, I talk about as a kid that I looked up this whole long, he begat, and there's only 4 times that it mentions a woman who a child came out of. Like it's all the male line. But occasionally they'll say so-and-so, Boaz through Ruth, or David's the father through Bathsheba. So Bathsheba ended up having a child who became Solomon, who we know, a lot of people know at least, of being the wisest man who ever lived, and he wrote Ecclesiastes, and yeah. And so there's 4 women who are named. And as a child, that was really interesting to me. And I would ask, why are these 4 women in the line of Christ? And no one would tell me. And so I started doing the research about that. And one was a prostitute. One, here's a story you don't hear a lot. Want to hear another Bible story?
Sure.
There was a woman named Tamar. And she had been married to one of 3 sons. I think there was 3. And her husband died before giving her a child. So as was the custom in the time and perhaps the law, she married the brother of her dead husband. And that man would not give her a child because he didn't want to have a child in his brother's name. And so they're allowed to have more than one wife. But this woman was not allowed to have a child. So he did something they call onanism. So he spilled his seed on the ground instead of inside of her so that she couldn't have a baby. And so God gets really mad because Onan will not impregnate her. And so Onan gets killed too. And so then her father-in-law decides not to marry her off to the youngest brother because 2 of the brothers are already dead, right? And he doesn't want to lose his only son. So he just banishes her, and she has nothing, because what does a woman have at the time if she doesn't have a husband or a child? She has no ability to make a living in the world. And so this man is, the father-in-law is really unkind to her in a way that she decides she needs to take something into her own hands. And so she dresses up like a prostitute and goes to the side of the road. And as he's traveling on the road, she puts herself in front of him and offers her services, and he sleeps with her, and he does not have payment on him for some reason. And so he gives her his staff, which is a token of his word or something. So at least he's paying his prostitute. And she gets pregnant from this. And he orders her, when he finds out she's pregnant, to be stoned to death, to be killed and executed because, she's not allowed to have a baby outside of wedlock. And she said, okay, but let me just return this staff to you that I got from the father of the baby. And so then he ends up protecting her, and she gets to have the child. And that child is in the line of Christ.
Whoa.
Yeah. So really interesting things. I don't know what you're supposed to learn from that story. When I was a kid reading this, I would ask, and of course, no one really wanted to tell me because she was rewarded for that. That's the interesting thing.
It's the stories are crazy. It's just, if you're being honest and if you believe in God, but you also know that people are full of shit, you have to put all this stuff through a filter. You just have to. And it doesn't mean that there's no God.
Of course.
It doesn't mean that. It means there's probably something in these stories, but we have to be real careful with what that something is.
Well, and I don't profess to know. I don't know why.
They condone slavery. The Bible
Sure.
condones slavery, like flat out. It's in there all the time. It's like
Yes.
women are essentially second-class citizens. And you know what I found out recently? That there was a woman before Eve.
Depending on who you ask.
Yeah. So what was that one?
Well, that's not in the 66 books of the Bible that most people are taught in the Protestant tradition, or the 69 or whatever in the Catholic tradition. That's part of the Apocrypha. So these are books of the Bible that didn't make it into, Christianity as such that we
The editor's
follow
cut.
today. Yeah, it was an editor's cut, exactly.